I recently published a video that was about the day in the life of a copywriter, and it actually worked out to be a pretty popular video. And it resonated in a different way from a lot of my content that's about like, okay, here's how to be successful, how to get clients as a copywriter, as a marketer, as a freelancer. And when it resonated, people were also asking about daily productivity. How do you like get things done on a day-to-day basis? Not just the schedule, but you know, how do you make sure that you get things done? And so I wanted to talk about that in today's episode. These are the proven direct response marketing, copywriting, and entrepreneurship success strategies you can use today to write your own ticket and create the life you want. I am Roy Furr, and this is Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Now, here's today's breakthrough. All right, before we dive in, couple recommendations for links to check out. Well, there's a few links in the description, but the main one I want you to check out is Small Work, Big Productivity. Small Work, Big Productivity. This is a training that I did for my BTMS Insiders members, so you get it as part of the BTMS Insiders membership. And it's all about how to define big goals and then actually make them happen. And it's a complete walkthrough of the thinking that's required to actually translate your dreams into reality. And a little bonus for those of you who are catching this just as it's published, it's the first week of July 2022. Next week, the second week of July 2022, I'm doing a productivity challenge inside the BTMS Insiders Facebook group. And what these are is for 1 week, I ask you to just dedicate an hour of your time per week, or per day, to doing one important task towards your biggest goals. And the people who have done this have had incredible breakthroughs. One person just reported winning a major spec challenge based on the work that he did on that and getting multiple thousands of dollars for that. Another person reported breaking through and getting access to a ton of new clients. And it's just like, it's a very simple thing to just sit down and dedicate an hour per day. And the productivity challenge provides an extra layer of accountability that can add to that. And that's something that you can get access to as a BTMS Insiders member. Again, that's the second week of July 2022. And most months, actually, it's the second week of the month that I run those productivity challenges. That's inside the BTMS Insiders Facebook group, which is a private and exclusive Facebook group for BTMS Insiders members. So you get access to my training library plus that group and any associated benefits that come with it. All right, so check those links out in the description. And let's dive into today's content. We're talking about daily productivity for copywriters, copywriter-entrepreneurs, and I guess other people who are in this general space. First thing that I want to say, and this comes up in the context of those productivity challenges, it's not what you know, it's what you do with it. And so you can spend all day, like I think it's up over 170 hours of training that you get access to for instant streaming access now as part of the BTMS Insiders training library. Plus I have hundreds of past episodes available either as a podcast or on YouTube or, you know, and I actually have millions of words of content on breakthroughmarketingsecrets.com. And all of that is out there and you can learn all sorts of things about marketing. Right? And you can spend your entire life learning about marketing. It is not what you know, it's what you do with it. And so you have to actually translate what you're learning, what you're getting from me, these daily tips, these, the in-depth trainings that I provide, all of that, you need to translate that into action. And so part of that, like that can be why people invest in coaching, because coaching will help you be accountable. That's why you do things like the productivity challenge. That's why you do things like just making sure that you get things done, right? And so in that context, I wanted to share, I guess, some things that are not just like, hey, buy my stuff, that are useful, that have been things that I've developed as far as, useful tools in achieving daily productivity. And like, by the way, like I've been doing daily content since 2014 while also building out a publishing business, while also doing client work, while also working actually part-time so that I can spend a lot of time with my kids. So there's like all sorts of benefits that can come from this, right? But ultimately it's about making the rubber meet the road, right? So first thing that I want to share, this is a very simple thing, and it's been taught by, I don't know, countless other people, but the specific language that I like, that resonated with me, comes from Andy Frisella, who had the MF CEO podcast. I think he's changed the podcast name. I don't listen to it regularly right now, but the concept was make the list, do the list, win the day. Make the list, do the list, win the day. And it's a fairly simple concept. So what he says is write down the 3 to 5 top tasks that you need to achieve today, regardless of anything, right? Regardless of whatever else comes up, these are the top 3 to 5 things that you need to achieve. And these could be things that you get done in an hour. It could be things that take, all morning, depending on your time, your schedule, what the tasks are, all of that. The thing is, like, this is about defining your top 3 to 5 high leverage activities every day. More than 5, and it starts to be a mess. And you're probably putting lower leverage activities or less important activities on there. But less than 3, you really have to think, is there more that I need to be doing, right? So 3 to 5, it's a good number. It is also a little bit arbitrary. So you could have one critically important task that you need to get done today. And if you get that task done, then the day is a huge win. Okay, whatever it is. But make the list, do the list, win the day. The whole point is you make this list, you write it down, like a 3x5 note card is great for it. If you have some kind of productivity software that you use, list making software, etc., you can do it in there as long as you're actually going to make yourself be accountable to it. But this is about just like making the list, doing the list, and winning the day. And some days it could be like the most impactful activity that you need to do is some family activity, right? It could be, I'm not saying that every single day you need to be working on your business. It's just about defining your highest impact activities for the day, writing them down, making them, like, getting them out of your head, looking at them and saying, okay, these are the things that I need to do, and then doing them. And when you do that consistently, when you do that today, it's going to be like, okay, I checked all the things off my to-do list. Great. Okay. But when you do this consistently over time, Andy built a $1 billion company off of this. Pretty much every high achiever that I know has some variation on this. They know exactly what their top tasks are for the day, and they make sure that they happen. Now, there are other things like time boxing and stuff that, actually putting things on your schedule that are also super effective. I find that just making sure that I have my to-do list in front of me and I know what I need to do, that's step 1, okay? And then step two is kind of a broad, like just zooming out a little bit. So for a while, I was super into David Allen's Getting Things Done. And I think that it works for people whose brains don't work like mine. So I've been diagnosed with ADHD inattentive. And so there's this concept about ADHD that people with ADHD have an interest-based nervous system, meaning our nervous systems respond to things that hold our interest. And a normal nervous system is an importance-based nervous system. And so for a normal person, like, I can think, these are the things that are important, and so I'm going to take care of the things that are important. And I think Getting Things Done, the GTD system, is really built for that type of nervous system. Like, I'm going to define this big system of all the things that are important to achieve on a regular basis and on a long-term basis and all of that, and I'm going to get things done based on that. What I find for my interest-based nervous system is it creates an unwieldy system that I cannot sustain interest in keeping up with. And because it's too much, it creates a sense of overwhelm, and it actually reduces my productivity in the long run. There is a simplified version that is still based on the same principles. And arguably, the way that David Allen teaches, he says you don't need to follow like this massive planner system, whatever, in exactly the way I teach it. He does teach from principles first, and then he says, here's how I implement these principles. So it's not like I don't know, but it's easy to get lost in all the details of trying to match your system to getting things done. So this alternative system is Zen to Done. And this is from Leo Babauta from zenhabits.net. And he has a great book on it. He also has an article that covers most of the details. And he says, okay, I took getting things done. I tried getting things done and it was too much for me. So here's a simplified version of getting things done. And again, it's about lists and making sure that you know your projects and like, you know, all like the things that are going on. And coming back to this daily productivity thing and that make the list, do the list, win the day. So make the list, do the list, win the day. These are the tasks that need to get done, right? So what getting things done and Zen to Done tells you to do is zoom out, make sure that you, that whenever you have an idea for a project or something that needs to get done, you have a list of projects that need to get done. And then from that list of projects that need to get done, you can define tasks that need to get done and you can prioritize those tasks. Like that's the biggest, most important thing. And so you can see how that feeds the make the list, do the list, win the day. It gives you a way to account for a bigger time frame, a longer, a further away horizon as far as the things that need to be accomplished beyond a daily to-do list. So if you have some new project, you say, okay, here's the project, here's what the project is, here's what I want to achieve, and here's how we can break it out into milestones and tasks and all of that. And that's my approach. Like I use an outlining tool. I'm actually looking at my notes for the show in Workflowy, which the notes for the show are under a to-do item that is, record breakthrough marketing secrets for today. And I take the title and then I structure the content and I record based on the notes that I have in the content. And so the getting things done and Zen to Done thing that's added on top of make the list, do the list, win the day is also thinking more long-term, define your projects, break them out, have notes on what the different parts of that project may need to be, as well as, anything you need to outsource or loop in other people for. In the context of being a copywriter entrepreneur, basically what I'm saying is if you have a project, write it down, like what that project is, write down any components of that project that you need to get done. And if there are any specific tasks that are like lower level than the components, you can write those down too. And you can use that as your to-do list. But how does that all apply to actually doing the work? Well, I want to talk about like productivity sprints and Pomodoro and a tool called Focusmate. Productivity sprints, this is something out of agile project management methodology, like the language is to do these sprints. And it's like, okay, in the next 2 weeks, we have this big project that we're going to focus on getting done. And we're going to just knock it out. We're going to make as much progress as possible, or we're going to hit this deadline if possible. And it's a real focus on, okay, here is the work that we need to be doing during this length of time, and let's just get it done, right? And so you can think in the context of your life, like these are the big projects that need to happen this week, or this is the big project that needs to happen this month, right? There are different levels, right, of what that is, but the whole idea is you need to prioritize. And by the way, priority used to be only used as a singular word. You could have one priority, the one thing that comes before, prior to everything else. That's what priority meant. Now priorities could be 1,000 things, right? But it's more useful to say, okay, here is my one priority for these 2 weeks, and everything else has to fit in around it. And then in the context of today, how do you get that done? Well, there's this great thing called a timer. And the Pomodoro method says set a timer for 25 minutes. Some people do 50 minutes. And do work, dedicate that time, that 25 minutes or 50 minutes to one specific task. And then at the end of that 25 minutes, just take a mental break. For 5 minutes and then start another Pomodoro timer, another 25 minutes. Or if you do 50 minutes, you can do a 10-minute break at the end. And the Focusmate app, and by the way, I'm going to include links in the description to a video I did on Zen to Done, also on Focusmate, And I did an interview with the founder of Focusmate. So what Focusmate does is it actually sets up a virtual co-working environment for you to do those types of Pomodoro sprints. And so you schedule a 25-minute session or a 50-minute session. And when the time comes, you're actually able to log in, and there is a one-on-one video chat, right, with some person who also wanted to focus on a task during that time. And at the beginning you say, what are you working on during this 25 minutes? Cool, that's awesome. Here's what I'm working on. Good luck, and we'll check in at the end. And then at the end of the session you say, how'd you do on your task? Okay, awesome. Here's how I did on my task, right? Like it's you just have a conversation at the beginning, here's what I'm gonna do, and then at the end, here's what I did. And it is remarkably effective at helping you get things done. Like those items on your to-do list, you could knock out 2 of those items during a single Focusmate session, or you could knock out 1 in a single Focusmate session, or 1 is gonna take 2 Focusmate sessions. Whatever it is, it helps you get things done to actually have that like in the moment accountability. And so like all of these things kind of work together. And make the list, do the list, win the day tells you what you need to do today. Getting things done and Zen to done is like it's the bigger picture of like what you're trying to accomplish over time. And then the productivity sprints, Pomodoro, Focusmate, like that whole concept, however you apply it, is about making things happen in the moment, like right now, right? And my small work, big productivity system is all about all of the combination of all of those things. And it just goes much deeper into this type of approach where you are thinking, you're thinking at these different levels. You're thinking long-term, you're thinking short-term, you're making a long-term plan, and you're coming up with your short-term actions that need to happen in order to make that plan a reality. Because remember, it's not what you know, it's what you do with it. It's not all these things that you learn. It is, okay, I know that I need to be sending out a message to try to initiate a conversation with an ideal prospect. And my priority today is to send out that one message to that ideal prospect and try to initiate a conversation that leads to a phone call where we can talk about doing work together. Okay, cool. So how am I going to actually make that happen? I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do the work. And the small work, big productivity system is just about like kind of combining all of these elements. But whether you do it by following my training or by just understanding that's what it's about. It's about defining these long-term goals, breaking it down into very short-term tasks that need to be accomplished. Getting things done calls them next actions. And I like that because when you think of an action, it's something that you can physically see being done, right? So you big project broken down into next actions to be accomplished, and then you actually need to do those in the moment, which is about what the Focusmate and Pomodoro's and productivity sprints is all about. And it's the combination of those things that allows you to do the daily productivity that leads to actually achieving those big goals and fulfilling on those big plans. And so don't forget to check out the links in the description to small work, big productivity, productivity challenge. I guess I'll include a link to the Facebook group, which is where you sign up for that. I guess it's exclusive to BTMSinsiders members. And I'll include some links to some of the YouTube videos mentioned in this as well. So check out the links in the description. I'm Roy Furr. This is Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Every day in every episode, I'm here trying to help you increase your marketing genius. And hey, one big way to look like a marketing genius is to actually do the work involved in marketing. So go do that, and I will catch you again in the next episode. Thank you once again for tuning in to this daily episode of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Remember, check out the links with this episode for even more value. Now make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, and engage in every way you can to keep this show going and growing and delivering daily value to you. I'll catch you soon for your next big breakthrough.